Explanation of the Surah. وَالْفَجْرِ وَلَيَالٍ عَشْرِ وَالشَّفْعِ وَالْوَتْرِ وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا يَسْرِ. The dawn bears witness, and the 10 nights, and the even and the odd, and the night when it begins to leave. I have already explained in the introduction to the surah that the oaths sworn by here are meant to substantiate the claim that the real schemer of this world is God, the one and only. In His hands are the reins of everything. It is He who brings forth everything, and it is He who makes them disappear. It is He who grants respite to something for as long as He wants to, and it is He who pulls its strings whenever He intends to. Nothing can dare cross the limits He has prescribed for it or intervene in His authority. The word Fajr refers to the time when the darkness of the night disappears and the light of the day appears from the horizon. While mentioning the directive of the fast, the Qur'an says, وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَكُمُ الْخَيْطُ الْأَبْيَضُ مِنَ الْخَيْطِ الْأَسْوَدِ مِنَ الْفَجْرِ. Or, and eat and drink until the white thread of the dawn is totally evident to you from the black thread of the night. Surah number 2, verse 187. In contrast to Fajr or dawn, its synonym Subh or morning refers to the time which not only encompasses the time of Fajr or dawn, but also the time after sunrise. For this reason, when an oath is sworn by the word Subh or morning, it is qualified by a phrase. Thus, for example, وَالصُّبْحِ إِذَا تَنَفَّسَ, or the morning bears witness when it reads, Surah number 81, verse 18, and وَالصُّبْحِ إِذَا أَسْفَرَ, or the morning bears witness when it appears, Surah number 74, verse 34. Once it is ascertained that the word Fajr refers to that time of commencement of the morning when the night just disappears, the oaths sworn here are for the same sort as those of the following. وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا أَدْبَرَ وَالصُّبْحِ إِذَا أَسْفَرَ إِنَّهَا لَإِحْدَى الْكُبَرِ. Or, the night bears witness when it turns its back, and the morning when it appears, that this day of judgment is from among great incidents. Surah number 74, verses 32 to 34. I have already explained in the tafsir of Surah Muddassir that when the darkness of the night spreads deep, there is no sign of morning. The time of Fajr brings the message of a great change, and that is, darkness disappears and the world puts on a new garb. Same shall be the case with the day of judgment. This world is like the night whose darkness has enshrouded the dawn of the day of judgment. Just as the dawn appears at a fixed time after the night, similarly, a time will come when the day of judgment will suddenly appear. At that time, everyone will see that what they deemed an impossibility is staring them in the eye. Here, through the oath sworn by Fajr, the Qur'an is cautioned that the time of dawn symbolically portrays the advent of the day of judgment every day. Just as a person sleeps at night and gets up in the morning, rubbing his eyes, in a similar manner, a time will come after death when the trumpet shall be sounded, and he will get up in the dawn of the day of judgment and will feel as if he had just gone to sleep and gotten up. Thus, he should not consider the advent of the day of judgment to be a far-fetched reality. In Hadith narratives, the supplication which is taught to a person when he gets up in the morning also refers to this aspect. What are the 10 nights referred to by the words وَلَيَالٍ عَشْرٍ? Our exegetes have given different answers to this question. However, none of them offers convincing arguments in favor of his view. All of them are based on the notion that it is essential that the objects and phenomena which are sworn by in the Qur'an be sacred. This notion is absolutely baseless. Most oaths sworn in the Qur'an are meant to substantiate a claim. Instead of finding the element of sanctity in them, one should look at their argumentative nature. One should first determine the claim which is under discussion and how an oath bears witness to it. Moreover, verses and instances in the Qur'an should be kept in consideration which discuss the subject in the same or similar words. If one reflects on the central theme of the surah, what is in harmony with it is the fact that these 10 nights refer to the 10 nights of the waxing and waning of the moon. Since the expression layalin ashr is not defined by the article alif lam, they can simultaneously refer to the 10 nights in which the moon waxes and the 10 in which it wanes. In other words, this oath depicts the gradual picture of the rising and setting of the moon. In simpler words, this subject is discussed in Surah Yasin thus: وَالْقَمَرَ قَدَّرْنَاهُ مَنَازِلَ حَتَّى عَادَ كَالْعُرْجُونِ الْقَدِيمِ. We have ordained phases for the moon, and after passing through these phases, it appears like a withered twig of a date palm. Surah number 36, verse 39. In this verse, the moon is portrayed as if it is an obedient camel whose reins are in the hands of a divine impeller who makes it ascend to a certain height in various steps, and from there makes it descend in various steps, so much so that this tiring journey transforms it into a withered thorn. This aspect is explained thus in the style of an oath: وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا اتَّسَقَ لَتَرْكَبُنَّ طَبَقًا عَنْ طَبَقٍ. And the moon bears witness when it reaches full completion that you shall also ascend gradually. Surah number 84, verses 18 and 19. Here, those who are demanding to be immediately shown the day of judgment are told that there is a fixed program and a gradual process for the manifestation of the signs of the Almighty. The day of judgment is an obvious requirement of the Almighty's justice. It shall definitely come, but shall come at its appointed time. In the light of these parallels from the Qur'an itself, if this verse is analyzed, one comes to the conclusion that here the Qur'an is referred to each of the 10 nights in which the transformations in the moon are very prominent, and it appears to be different each day. This transformation bears evidence that the Almighty has prescribed a gradual course for the appearance of all His signs and manifestations. A lady gives birth to a child after a specific period of time, and a crop becomes ready for harvest after a set time passes. The Almighty does not seize the disbelievers immediately after their crime. He gives them respite, and once this period of respite is over, only then He seizes them. On similar lines, this world also is gradually moving to its destination, which is the Day of Judgment, and this will be exactly according to the timetable which the Almighty has ordained for it. In the verse وَالشَّفْعِ وَالْوَتْرِ, the word ashaf means even, and the word al-watr means odd. What then do these meanings imply? There are so many opinions which our exegetes have cited in response to this question that it is difficult to list them comprehensively. In my opinion, the reason for these multiple opinions is that instead of keeping the context and coherence of the discourse in consideration, people have tried to make these words imply sacred things only. Had they viewed these oaths not as those sworn by sacred things, but as presenting evidence on a claim, the correct and easier way of deliberation was to analyze those portions of the Qur'an where it has mentioned the creation of all things in pairs and has directed our attention to some very important facts of wisdom. At one place it is said, وَمِن كُلِّ شَيْءٍ خَلَقْنَا زَوْجَيْنِ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَذَكَّرُونَ. And from all things we have made pairs so that you may take heed. Surah number 51, verse 49. Each pair comes into existence through combination of two odd number entities. This, in other words, means that every entity is odd from one aspect and even from another. While referring to this fact, the Qur'an has directed our attention to many paired phenomena of this world. For example, the earth and the sky, darkness and light, shade and sunshine, the male and the female species. After this, it has reminded us of some very important consequences, as is alluded to by the words لَعَلَّكُمْ تَذَكَّرُونَ, or so that you may take heed. For example, it reminded of the fact that when each and every object is incomplete when taken alone and becomes meaningful and complete when viewed with its counterpart, then this means that there definitely exists a perfect and flawless being beyond these varied objects whose wisdom and power creates harmony and concord between them and makes them meaningful. It is essential that this being be perfect and flawless. If there is any shortcoming in this being, then he will become dependent for his needs on something which is superior, and this process will go on indefinitely. A second thing which these words remind us is that this world viewed collectively has certain voids in it, just as all its constituents have certain voids, and these voids are not filled unless one acknowledges a day of judgment. And if one does not acknowledge the coming of such a day, then this world cannot be considered to have been made by a wise being. It becomes a recreational activity of a merrymaker, and what a cruel recreation it is. The mention of the even and the odd comes after the 10 nights, and these 10 nights constitute the nights in which the moon waxes and wanes. This waxing and waning of the moon bears witness that the reins of all things are in the hands of God, the one and only. This is because in some months these nights are odd in number, and in others they are even, and no one has the power to make the odd ones even and the even ones odd, however much he may want this to happen. People try their utmost to be able to see the moon of Eid on the 29th day of the previous month. It, however, obeys only its Lord in this matter and disregards the passion and fervor of people to welcome it as soon as possible.